Hello, this is my first YouTube video. This is my first comic unboxing. This is a lot of firsts. The reason why I wanted to do this now with this book is because this is an enormous get for me. This is a huge milestone, watershed in me being a collector. A book that is not only emotionally important to me, but financially significant. Of course, my chair decides to do that. So, why do we, as collectors, why do we care about first appearances at all? They're so expensive. They're so expensive. I'm waving my knife around. Why do we care about first appearances? And I think it's, I don't want to speak for anybody else. I'm just going to speak for me. Maybe I'm the least interesting person in the world, or maybe a lot of other people are going to relate to this, but when I'm reading a comic, I'm just a dorky guy in his house. I'm nothing special. But when I read a comic of a character that I love and I own their first appearance, there is this undeniable feeling of ownership. I don't want to keep waving this around. There's this feeling of ownership that I have over the character. Sounds weird. I feel closer to them. I feel like I now own a piece of them. It's strange. I'm still waving the knife. But here she is. And I don't mean she as in like you call boats she. I mean here she is. You're gonna see it before I get to. Oh my goodness. This is Action Comics 252, first appearance of Supergirl Kara Zor-El in the most ridiculous story you can possibly imagine. It is a convoluted mess how they came up with a fully grown female. I'm looking at it now. Oh my god, it's beautiful. It is an absolute mess, the story that they tell to get her to Earth to be of a comparable age to Superman. Cream to off-white pages, 4-0, lots of foxing. I don't care. It's 1959. For a 60-year-old gal, she looks great. But specifically, some collectors are going to understand exactly what I'm talking about here. When you love an enormous character, like a Superman, a Batman, a Spider-Man, a Fantastic Four, when those are your favorites, the first appearances, they're so big, you almost have to make peace with the fact that you love them, but you're never going to be able to own that first appearance. I'm never going to own an Action Comics #1. It's not going to happen. But I can own the first appearance of his dog. I can own his cousin's first appearance. I can own the first time a villain shows up. Not Lex Luthor, we're in the same boat. But I can own a lot of those first appearances, those first moments that make that character great, that add to the mythos of the character, without being able to own their exact first appearance. So books like this are really attractive to collectors like me because they get you closer to that big character that you really love without having to buy a house, a lake house, and then sell them both and then buy that comic book. Like it's just too much. The amount of money it would take, we're talking home values to buy characters like that. I mean, even Spider-Man's up to like luxury car prices. That sense of ownership that people have over first appearance of characters. I'll never get to own I'll never feel that sense of ownership over such a cultural icon like Clark Kent. But his cousin, yes. And then in addition to all of that, above all of that, I also love Kara in her own right. Her stories are great. She's an awesome... She's Clark, but more aggressive. She was trained to be a soldier in Krypton. She knows what Krypton's really about. So when this guy goes off on tangents about like, oh, the symbol means hope, and she's like, yeah, it means hope, but it also means like hope for victory, you idiot. I love that. I love her. I love her relationship to Power Girl. I love her relationship to Krypto. Crypto. We'll talk about crypto some other time. And now I'm going to set this aside for a second. I'm going to oogle it for sure. I'm having trouble not looking at it, but I just wanted to kind of introduce myself. My name is Ricky. This channel is called All Sorts of Words because I love writing, I love reading books, I love reading comics. And I didn't want this to be something like DC Bookworm was something I was floating around for a little bit. I even got some concept art from my brother-in-law who does like video editing for a living. He won't be editing these, which is why they're going to be super juvenile. But I thought about DC Bookworm. I thought about DC Comic King, different stuff that just talked about my love for comics. But I love words in general, so here we are. I plan on posting with regularity because, and I don't want you to think I'm pathetic. Please don't think I'm pathetic. You can think I'm pathetic for many reasons, but just not this one. I have no one to talk to about comic books, and I've been sitting on the sidelines for a very long time watching this comic book community get stronger and kinder and just more welcoming. And I've been sitting on the side. I've been relegated to comment boards, and I just want to talk to people about comic books, and I want people in comment sections to ask questions or ask for opinions that I can listen to them and I can offer my feedback, and I just want to be a part of that because I have two ass people in my whole ass life that are even remotely connected to comic books, and one of them is pure Marvel and I am pure DC blue. And this wasn't coincidence that her costume and this blue hoodie, because I'm a nerd. And the other one was my brother-in-law, and he read past tense but isn't very into it now, and so his knowledge of current comics is kind of like what I feed him. Like what I read something and I'm telling him about it, and he's like, oh, that's so cool. But like, guy's got 2 kids, full-time job, full-time wife, and people just don't have that time to dedicate their interest to several different things. Mine is just, it's reading. I do play video games as well, a little bit more about myself, but I'm so into reading, and comic books is another way to get reading into my heart. I love novels, poetry. I love reading screenplays and plays, but comics is just another way that I can get words into my life. I write, and I need more words in my life. There's not enough time for how many words I want. I want to be saturated in words. I talked about a little bit about Kara Zor-El today. Next time I want to talk about the top comics in my collection. I want to talk about like the organization that I do. It's very particular. I'll show that to you. I'll show you how I display my comics, which is to say not at all. But I'm excited. I'm excited to get to know you. I'm excited for everybody to get to know me, and I hope this works out because I would love to talk about comics in my life more.